streets of Chicago, live and direct. It's the Rico No Suave Show, starring Rico No Suave, with co-host Valerie Malesio, featuring special guests every Saturday. And now, ladies and gentlemen, here is Rico No Suave. Ritmo.
There that guy is. Welcome to the show, everybody. Welcome to the show. It's your boy Rico No Suave here on a 1-2, ready to go with each and every one of you guys. Oh, Ave Maria, mi gente. Oye, it is May 14th. Es de 14 de mayo, mi gente. I cannot believe it is the 14th. We are in the middle of the month already. So what can I say? Wow. In Chicago, we do have a lot of things going on here, and one of them is the heat, right? And also bringing the heat is my co-host, Valerie Malesio. What's up, Valerie? What's happening?
Hey, feliz sábado, mi gente.
Yes.
It is a beautiful day today in Chicago. Yes, it has been crazy hot the last few days, hasn't it? I mean, we went from 40, 50 degrees to we didn't even gradually increase. We dove head first straight into 80, 90 degree weather.
Yeah.
So they were like, okay, you were a little chilly yesterday, but let's just make you extremely hot today.
Yes.
So, beautiful weather though. Beautiful.
Well, I have to say that, the weather is blessing us, as far as this week. And it's cooling down just a little bit because Mother Nature, she likes being bipolar, and she also loves to play with our feelings, right? but it happens. But everybody, we are here, we are ready to go. So don't forget to comment. Don't forget to let us know that hey, we are ready to answer all of your questions for today. But today's show is sponsored by Special Occasion Events. Yes, we also have Special Occasion Events, which is actually sponsoring the show for today. And you're going to hear more about them at 12:30. So make sure you stick around so you can hear more about Special Occasion Events. All right, so now we have the breaking news, everyone. So the breaking news, and everybody that's actually on the radio, thank you guys so much for tuning in. Breaking news, something that's coming up, something that's going out, something that's all around everybody, and we talk about education, politics, technology, all of that great stuff. So, mental health awareness. Yes, mental health awareness. So one of the things is about mental health awareness is being aware, because this is the month that we try to break that stigma. Yes, and that's the next slide. Yes, we try to break that stigma itself. And man, what I have to say about mental health awareness is there's a lot of things that's going in a lot of people's brains nowadays, and based off of the pandemic. And then, I have to say that having so many, they say we got a lot of screws and bolts in our head, sometimes we have a lot of loose screws. And sometimes, we take that word for granted, because there is, things that makes us feel a certain way, when we actually go through depression, right, and we go through certain conditions and things like that, which goes to our next slide is, mental health awareness can be an illness, meaning that being aware of people's illnesses, of what people go through out of life, makes a big difference in regards to suicidal events, also their job, financial, the pandemic, of course, people losing jobs, relationships, when relationships are being broken, and family, mm-hmm, right? Someone passes away in your family itself, and what do? We go into that mourning state. We go into that depression state because it affects us so much. So, with this month being mental health mental health awareness, which was originated, started in 1949. In 1949, on this month here, that's when they started developing as far as understanding what is mental health, as a illness, right? Starting off with different organizations. So
you mentioned 1949, and that's interesting because it seems like it really hasn't been presented very much, but then we didn't have social media back then.
Right, that's correct.
But what I love about bringing kind of the spotlight onto what mental health awareness is it's exactly that. Mm-hmm. Allow yourself to be aware that these are everyday situations. Yes. There's no shame in it. People go through things, and it's okay to utilize your resources. And if you need help, it's okay to say, I need help.
Yes.
And for people around you, do the check-ins. I know we want to respect each other's space.
Yes.
But sometimes it's okay to, do that check-in on that loved one or that friend or that somebody.
Yes.
Who kind of, to see if they're okay, if there's anything that they need or you can help with. We are all connected. Mm-hmm. It affects everybody.
Yes.
And mental health is a real situation.
Yep.
And people are dealing with many different things, in many different ways.
That's right.
That's be kind.
I think when it comes to and big shout out to the Maya family, because the Maya family, actually we had them on the show as well too, and they did kind of like a horror film type suspense of Brenda. Maria Brenda, right? She actually had, her daughter. This was dedicated to her daughter because of the mental health awareness and things that may go on. Now, mental health awareness, man, can just grow on you. I mean, it can just happen. You just feeling depressed of self-esteem, like low self-esteem, not thinking that you'll be able to do it, and all these negative thoughts that can actually grow on you. Or it can just hit you just like that. But
I think the main thing is understanding resources.
Yes.
And understanding that you can get help, that you don't have to do it alone.
Yes.
That there is help out there. And I think that a lot of times it's just taking that step, to reach out for help.
Yes.
Because we feel embarrassed. We feel beaten up. Like, why do I feel this way? Why can you function day to day? And why am I feeling like this and you're not? And those feelings, dealing with those feelings.
Yeah.
And there are resources out there. If anybody's out there feeling any kind of way, please, reach out. There are hotlines out there. There are so many support groups now available.
Yes.
So you don't have to feel like you're the only one in the room that's going through whatever it is that you're going through.
Right. I love that. Iris Diaz is saying there's so much stigma, so much work to do. People are dealing with so much right now. That is very important because being able to have a problem, there's always solutions, right? There's solutions to the problem. It's once you find out what that solution is that actually connects with that person for them to continue to gradually break that habit, to gradually make them feel like they can actually grow and get out of that, right? And continuously making them smile. Smiling is a contagious thing, right? I smile all the time, right? And what happens is when you actually smile, it actually helps other people that going through depression glow, right? And just make them feel like, oh my God, I'm so glad that I ran into you. I'm so glad that I know you. I'm so glad that my mom or my dad introduced, because I was so depressed, right? Mm-hmm. I'm so glad that I heard your voice or heard the message that you were talking about, because I was on the verge of suicidal. I know a few people that's actually, suicidal, but that goes through depression, right? That actually have called me up and say, thank you so much for that message, man. Thank you so much for actually being real. Thank you so much for actually doing so many, great things to keep us inspired to move forward. And I think that's, for me, that's the reason why, of course, we love this show. But it's so many ways to, help save and also present that solution to people, right?
Having a platform where you can talk about a journey of somebody that can actually potentially reach out to someone else who's going through the same things. That is ultimately what I love being on this show. Is a platform of awareness and letting people know everybody goes through different layers and changes and transformations in life.
Yes.
And, right now, we're post-pandemic. This is kind of a new arena for us. I mean, there are some generations that have actually been through a pandemic before, but I mean, for the majority of us, we've never been in this situation. Right. So this is kind of new for all of us. So kind of respecting people's space and responding with kindness instead of judgment, listening before we speak, stuff like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Those little things can kind of make the difference. And hey, we are all a work in progress.
That's right. Hey, big shout out to Pepe Escobar checking in. Happy Saturday. Hope y'all guys are enjoying the sunshine. We are enjoying the sunshine. All of us, NFP, my man Justin Sawyer, he's also an activist as well. Yes. Checking in from New York City. What's up, my man? Hope you're having a great time. Hope you're doing well, I should say, in New York City. And then he says, yes, sometimes I do go through the depression. Yes, and that's actually one of my colleagues that I know that actually goes through that as well. So, but it's always a solution of being able to make people actually smile. But I will leave off with this though. One of the things about mental health awareness that people really don't understand as far as a talk show is that the preparation to be able to bring content as far as to them makes a big difference of when you were in that pandemic. We've always been through pandemics, but it was little small pandemics. When I'm talking about financial stress, when I'm talking about breakups or relationships, when I'm talking about losing a job, those are little pandemics that you go through until you find that solution of getting a new job, getting a new relationship, getting that financial stability and going from there. Because those are those ups and downs we talk about, right? You go through them, but it's a small pandemic that you're actually going through. Now, this one, of course, is a big pandemic because we was cooped up in the house, right? We were actually trying to work from home. Some people lost their jobs.
Yeah, there was a little bit more ingrained in that.
Intense. That was the intense level, right? Yeah. But even though, like, for people that actually went through those little small pandemic type deals, it's kind of a way of saying, man, I can't wait till this is all over because now I have a blueprint of what I actually need to be able to do. I'm not saying everyone, but for most people that actually kind of went through that whole thing. So glad to be able to talk about mental health awareness, everyone, because it's very important. Of course, this whole pandemic, but this is the month, so make sure you say hello to everyone that you may know that might be going through mental health awareness, or even donate to some of the organizations that's actually helping out.
And encourage. Yep. That's the word for today. Encourage.
Let's get it on, baby. Let's get it on. All right, everybody. So I got to introduce this guy, man. This guy is hilarious. That's all I got to say. This guy, man, I love him, man, because you know why? He has this mentality of, speaking of mental, right? Mentality of making you smile, but also being real at the same time too. Meaning that to be able to come up with solutions, to be able to understand that, hey, we have something to do as a nation to make the world better. This gentleman, I say, yeah, my man, right? My main man, right? My man, right? My guy, right? This guy also ran for the 2020 presidential election as well too. Woo. I'm proud to actually have him here. And I have to say big shout out to my man Royce from Welcome to Fatherhood for actually introducing me to him as well too. We had him on the show, but we're ready to talk about his journey. I want you guys to stand up, put your fists together like this, ball it up, baby, because we're talking about some great power and some great things today. His name is Andy Hope Williams, aka the Hood Candidate. Yes, sir. What's up, man?
What's up?
I love that intro because you did describe him very well.
Right.
You know, you were refreshing, serious, comical, like everything just bundled up all together.
Yeah.
How you feeling?
Feeling great.
Feeling good?
Yeah. I'm good.
You sure?
Right, but am I supposed to look at you all the time? You don't give me no instructions, you know this. Wow.
You can look all over.
You can.
Hey, yeah, you talk to
I'm good. I'm good. It's Saturday. It's a Sabbath for me, and it's a beautiful day.
Yes,
it's a beautiful day. Got new family I connected with instantly.
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
yes,
so it's
sir.
all
love
good.
That.
Man,
yes.
love you, bro. Jose Cornelius is checking in right now. Hello, Jose. Eileen Love, Lady in Red. Let's get it on, man. This first thing about There's so many things I want to talk to you about. So why did you run for president in 2020?
Because I wanted to. Mm-hmm. I mean, really, no. May 3rd, 2019, it was 10 o'clock. I was sitting at a desk like this black one over there.
Yes.
Had a little drink. And the father, you know, my creator, my God, that's who I call father. And he asked me, son, you want to run for president? I was like, all right, cool. And that's where it all started, just from there. I had never had a desire to be in politics or any of that platform from that level. And as I, announced it that Monday just on social media, I didn't know nothing about nothing. Other than that's what I'm going to do because my father asked me and I know he got my back.
Yes, sir.
Because I'm really on his business and not my business. So that's why I initially ran. It was a calling and I answered the call.
Wow. Normally for callings like that is not very, it's very rare, right? I mean, sometimes when people call and say, yeah, man, you got $20? Yeah.
Right. Can I borrow a cup of sugar?
Without I know you got 20, you got 50, right? And then,
maybe a little Kool-Aid, Can I borrow some?
Let me get some food. Right? Let me say, can you hook me up a plate? Right. Let me get that. Like brown sugar. Right. Let me get. You got that. But running for president is a totally different thing as far as some calling.
Right.
I mean, your dad. I have to say, big shout out to him for even having you take that step to go into the presidential election.
Well, let's be clear about the dad I'm talking about.
Okay.
I'm talking about our father.
Talking about Father God.
Sorry.
No, same dad though. He still come through my pops because what I will say is, growing up with my father, and he has his own construction business.
Sure.
He taught me how to talk to everybody. You know.
Okay.
And so it's all part of the journey. You know.
Yes, sir.
So you get a call because you know you was created for this.
Yes, sir.
And then I begin to look back at my life and the things that I had went through. I can only say, I only went through that because the Father knew the plans he had for me when I was in my mother's womb.
Yes, sir.
So if I know that and I'm reading this Jeremiah 29:11, I got to recognize this is talking about me.
Yes, sir.
So let's do this.
So you're in this position where you're like, okay, I'm going to run for president.
Mm-hmm.
What does that mean? So did you start like looking for resources, doing some like where did you go from there?
First, I studied the candidates.
Okay.
First, I made sure I qualify. You got to be 35 years old, live here so long. I don't know. Anybody can do it if you're over 35. So let's just say that.
Okay.
And then I read the rules, the FEC, got handbooks, and just studied from the time to May till August. August is the first time I was in front of a group of people and publicly said, I am running for president. In August 2019, I think it was August 11th, it's very symbolic to the 400 years. So from 1619 to 2019, that's 400 years. Mm-hmm. And in the book of Acts, and it's Genesis 2, but Acts 7, verse 6 through 7, the scripture reads, for 400 years, you will be enslaved in a land that's not your own.
Yeah.
But after those 400 years, I'm going to punish the nation that enslaved you. So for me, time was served. You've been 400 years, 16, 19, 2019.
Yeah.
I felt it was symbolic that's the way the Father would ask me to say, hey, look, this is a sign, as essence to say, now mentally I'm free and nobody will ever be able to quote unquote represent my interest because you don't.
Right.
So that's where it comes from. And I think if we go to Malcolm X, he's always said in some of his speeches, well, one of them, I think it was the Ballad of the Bullet, but he says, it's time that we elect people from our community that has a heart from the community that knows the community. Because you're not going to hear me talking about what Biden don't do, what Trump, which I appreciate Trump and his representation on liberty, but you'd have to be in politics to understand that.
Right.
You don't represent my interests, but it's a race. It's not a competition. And if you represent we the people, it's not about a debate. It's just about a dialogue because we all should be the people. Right. So I don't have competition in this.
Right. I like that.
Yeah.
I like that.
And I really love what you're saying because, it is kind of for lack of a better word, like a turnoff. Like when I hear when I see the mudslinging,
Right.
and then I see something, they dug up all this dirt. I don't want to hear about what this other person is. I want to hear what you're going to do for it in your position. What are you going to do? Right. I'm not interested in their faults. I'm interested in what you are planning on doing. So when you say debates should be a discussion, that resonates.
It does.
Because it's not, when we're not battling here, we should be on the same page finding solutions.
Correct.
And do you feel like you would see that change coming in politics? Because that's been there forever. Like, how would you even begin to change that style of politics?
Right?
Yeah, I mean, politics has always been about beating the other guy.
Correct.
So where you're coming at seems like more of a collaborative standpoint. Like, do you see that change actually happening?
It exists right now. What doesn't exist is us believing that it exists.
Okay.
We don't believe that it exists, so it doesn't exist because we don't believe it exists. If you believe it exists, then it exists. Does it make sense?
Yeah, it does.
And so I believe, and I studied so many speeches from as many as you can come up from the 1700s all the way up to Donald Trump speeches. And you will see there was a shift kind of after John F. Kennedy. You can look at the Nixon and Jimmy Carter, which Jimmy Carter is my favorite president. One, his initials is JC. But he is the example of servanthood. And again, I'm going to scriptures because this is an instruction manual for me about my history. The greatest among you shall be your servant. And if you look at Jimmy Carter today at 96 years old, what is he doing? Serving the people. Habitat for Humanity. He still lives in the same house that he did before he ran for president in Georgia.
Wow.
He still has the same wife. He is still serving. And that is what our generation needs to see as their role models, And I'm not, going to bash none of the candidates, but Obama's platform showed me about family. It was a model family. Forget the politics. Look at the family.
Right.
Bush, look at the family. That's him and his wife. But then you look at Clinton. There's a division. You look at Trump and his wife. There was not a verbal division, but if you can see spiritually, there was a division.
Yeah. It was pretty apparent. Yeah.
So, what we want as a nation is to be a model family. And that's what my desire is to say other countries can look at our nation and say, we like what they're doing over there. We like that. In order for that to happen, though, there should be no divisions among us. And that's 1 Corinthians 10, verse 11. So again, I'm going there because the instructions are here. And when we get past our religion and get back to our relationship on why the Father created us for his good pleasure, we'll all be rising up to run for office because we know we will represent a kingdom on earth.
Yes, sir. I think one of the biggest things about, and yes, of course, religion is definitely in there and spiritually.
Yes,
but I think one of the things is that we know, and it's common sense of anyone that's in the community, it's all about family, right? And I think when you portray that in the discussion with your candidates or people that you're running against, they know that you're talking about something that's homely. You're talking about something that's positive. You're talking about things that that should be going on at home that may not be going on in your home, so you touch the nerve.
But I think family is also the village, right?
It is.
Of course.
It's, honoring thy neighbor. It's about the village, everybody caring about each other.
Yep.
Whereas we're kind of in this style of, I'm in my world, I don't really talk to my neighbors. You know what I mean? Like, a lot of people are just kind of centrally focused on what they're only doing. And not to be, like, nosy in everybody's business, but we are all connected. We are. So...
Unless you come out on the front lawn and start telling about your own problems,
right.
then it's going to be my business.
Can I go to a comment real quick before we move forward?
Yes, please.
So I wanted to read this off from all of us and NFP. Justin. He says, I want to make it better as well. As the next man. But some people don't want you to make that change because violence is a business. And what we were talking about earlier in changes.
Right.
What are your thoughts on that?
Violence is a business, and once we understand that, and when we say we want to make it better, then we counterproduct that. So I can say, you know what, hell exists all around me. Great, I'm aware of it.
Yeah.
Now what?
What
Do
are we
I say
doing?
that giant is there, now I can't defeat the giant? No, I'm going to come at the giant, because my past is violent. My past is gangs, drugs, prison, shot some people. And what I love about my journey is when I saw that movie 8 Mile, Eminem finally faced his fear and put it all out there up front. So then you had nothing to say. And because of the way our society is today, it takes somebody with a background like mine to get the nation together.
Right.
And really, when you think about the president or any, it should be a representative and not a politician, first of all, because the representative represents the constituents of the neighborhood. But it's a job.
Yeah.
It's a job, so it gives you a job description. So every candidate out here promising what they're going to do when they get elected is a liar. Because you don't need to get elected to be your brother's keeper. You don't need to get elected to know your neighbor and love your neighbor. That's a lifestyle. And that is who I am. That's who I've evolved to become, is saying, don't elect me because I'm promising something I'm going to do for you. I'm going to do what the job entails, and here's my resume.
I've been doing it. Yeah.
I've been doing it.
Yeah.
I love that. And
I
that's
mean,
a-
it's such
so true.
So much behind that. I mean, it's and it's so much like common sense behind it.
It is.
that you miss it, right?
That you miss it. It's so much straightforward, in your face, easy, but everybody doesn't take that easy path. They go around it.
But I think that is so key in what you just said. Those who are going to serve are going to serve.
Right.
Being a president or having a label, whatever you want to call yourself, is just that part of the job. But you're going to continue to serve and do those things because that's who you are and what you do to the core of you.
Correct.
Not because we elect you and you say you're going to do it.
Right.
Right.
You know
and
what
I think, and see, I got so many screws in my head right now that I'm putting together.
Did
with
you
the
just
bolt.
say scroodles?
Yeah, screws.
I got a head, but ain't no screws in it. I just had
You know,
man.
before we get into before we get into our sponsorship video, but one of the things is that, you know, understanding where you come from, because everybody doesn't live the same way, or so everybody's not grew up the same way, but some people have actually grown within that community that understands what's going on in that community, to be able to say, yes, you know what, I can actually make it. I can actually get out of the projects, or I can get out of the hood, or I can get out of the suburbs and come down to the city, right, to be able to see the difference of cultures, right? Because it's all it is just a culture.
Correct.
And how you basically put yourself in that culture to be able to go to another culture and see how you fit in, right? But also, it's like black and white, right? You're going into another community to see exactly how they live and how they understand you. It's not about a fight. It's about the culture. It's
about learning, understanding.
That's all it is. It's
You
just,
know?
it's a learning process.
You
It's
can't
a
really
learning
teach
thing.
somebody poverty.
No.
You know what I mean?
No,
Like, you kind of have to
no.
live through that. So it makes sense that you say someone has to have some sort of background
Yeah.
Right.
in the leadership roles
Yeah.
to really grasp and understand what goes on.
And that's just how it is. I mean, and I've seen guys, I've seen Caucasians actually, you know, go down and hang out with the homeless and actually live like them.
I mean, you know what?
I've seen that.
Let me retract that. You can get an understanding of poverty. So I'm not going to say you can never learn it, because you can understand it
Right.
if you're really engaged with people
Yeah.
of different areas, and you can understand that. But you have to really be open to learning and really understanding, not just like listening to them, but really hearing
I got you.
everything and what's really going on.
Yeah.
Because it's not just a day or two or an hour or two. You know what I mean? You can't grasp it all in just a couple hours.
All right, everybody, we got to get into our sponsorship package. I want to thank Special Occasion Events, but I am going to go through a few things as far as with a nice little video that we actually have, everyone. So Here we go. So, Special Occasion Events does weddings and do photography. They love making sure that people have a great time when they're actually out there. They also do quinceañeras as well, and great photography behind it, as well as choreographing as far as quinceañera packages and cotillions. DJ services, woo-wee, always keeping the people dancing as well too. So make sure you check out, man. And party planning and decorations, also what Special Occasion Events does, as well as baby showers. Once again, photography is everything. So if you're planning a special event, leave it to the experts. Special Occasion Events, your one-stop shop for you guys. Make sure you go to www.specialoccasionevents.com. Make sure you go and check those guys out. They are rocking it. So they are our sponsors for today's show as well. So yeah.
Make a note of that name.
You never know when you might need
your next
a party
event
planner.
You never know.
Never know.
You need some expert event management skills.
Yep.
Go to Special Occasion Events. They have all the resources that you need.
Handle your business. That's what we do. Yeah, that's what we do. All right, so let's get back into it. We had to take a small commercial break. But being in that culture thing, as far as, and we'll go back to a little bit on the candidacy, right? So I'm assuming you got a chance to meet. Did you ever get a chance to actually meet, I think you ran against Biden
and Trump.
Well,
right? It's over close to 1,100 people ran for president.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So we would never know that. And again, I do the research. It was several people that ran for president.
So we're talking just trying to get on the ballot, right?
Oh, yeah. So just a little bit. So I started as an independent, and then I joined this Libertarian Party. If you ever heard of them, they have one of the best platforms for liberty. And so I went with them, did debates with them, went to, live in Peoria with other presidential candidates. It was beautiful. Met this one dude, Dan Burham, Taxation and Theft. Learned a lot. And then when it was time to pick the candidate, I didn't get on that Zoom call. And then I went back to an independent. And the reason why the Father took me down that journey, because we have to understand, when God asks you to do something, it's not dependent on what people agree or disagree with.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
When you about your Father's business, you can't be like, well, they didn't pick me. I chose you. So it's not their picking, because he created all the people.
Yep.
So I think that was a lot that was building my own character, what God was doing in that. And so, yeah, I met, and the ballot part, it cost a lot. It cost. I don't want to say it cost a lot, but I worked with what I had. And when you're from the hood, you know what I'm saying, and you've tasted what poverty is like, mm-hmm. and you know how to juggle. And when I would read those rules, I found out, well, you can get on this ballot as a write-in candidate. You can get on here if you just put this paperwork in. Well, you're not going to make that. So then what I did was develop a system that realized what states were important to win. Because I'm telling you, I don't care who was supporting me, who wasn't. My spirit said I'm going to win because my daddy asked me to do it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I like that.
It didn't matter. And I feel like I won because I did it.
Yes, sir.
Right. He's like, I don't know if who won or what, but I did my part. I did my job.
Yes, sir. So what was what was it like as far as with the people that was supporting? I know you was out there shaking hands and kissing babies.
No.
Or did you do that? Right?
No.
How was it? But how was it as far as with the campaigning though, with the presidential election? Because that's got to be an exciting news. Like if you were my bro and you came up to me and said, "Hey, Father upstairs told me I need to run for president, so I'm actually go ahead and do it," I'm gonna be hyped. I'd be hyped for my bro, right? But, while you were going through that whole phase of, getting the votes and things like that, what was that like?
So when I announced that Monday on Facebook, my cousin, she was like, man, I'm here for you. Now, remember, I didn't know nothing about this.
Sure.
And if you know the story of Solomon in the Bible, when God asked him, to be king of Israel, he was honest and said, look, I have no experience in this. I don't know how to judge the people. Give me wisdom. And the Father gave that to him, as the story goes.
Yeah.
Well, that same Monday, I went to have lunch with my wife. And when my wife said, let me pray about it, and she came back, And she said, yes. It didn't matter no more to what nobody said. Because the two become one, and that power of agreement with her meant that we was going to do this to the end. Yes, and that's what I had. And she's, I made a song about her, my Boricua, she's Puerto Rican. It was just so beautiful. And so my birthday was 10/10, and I had to go to California. Well, my friend Henry was like, come to California, Andy, got this event. It was on my birthday. And
it's okay.
It's all right, brother.
My wife was like, go. It's like my birthday, and she was like, go, and she baked, so you gotta understand, like, this is important to her. Birthday don't mean too much to me, but to her it did. Yeah. And her support, man, it's dope. It's just dope. And when you, so.
I love that.
Yeah. It's joy. Y'all gotta understand, when you get
that
this
joy.
peace and joy in you, and you got your riders with you, And the other part, and so I went to California, I went to South Carolina, and I went to Iowa a few times. I give a shout out to my homeboy Trey from Iowa, because I come up through growth and development, which we know as Gangsta Disciple. But once I got with Trey began to connect me in all these other states. Like, he really was like my manager, like the dude, and that's how I got to South Carolina and connected with them brothers. Then I met this brother out there, James Tate. So the relationships, I met my sister Lulu out there.
Wow, so you must have had that moment like, this is really happening. Yeah. This just got real.
Because when you're in the moment, it is nothing.
Right.
Wow.
It's nothing.
Right. You just, that's gone. Yeah.
The only time I had one breakdown, like a meltdown, I would say, is I was painting for my friend Connie, her crib, and I was trying to get like on the ballot in Florida, and I think I only needed so many signatures just to be a write-in candidate, and I couldn't get it. And I was so upset, like, damn, man, I know all y'all people out here. And then I heard God tell me, because it only lasted overnight, and the next day he said, don't you know what I'm doing, son? And I was like, yeah, you right. That was it. I didn't trip, but that was the only time I had a moment of like, how can this not happen? And even now, as I hear him saying, that's because it was my will, not yours, son. And I was showing you that. Like, God develops our character through what we go through. Yes, sir. And we too busy, the devil doing it. You developing, you getting you straight. So that's what that was about.
So that moment, taught you just need to be obedient. Stop questioning it. Stop questioning.
Well, I'm a question.
And it's hard, it's hard.
I'm a question now. But when I hear him, or I hear the ancestors speaking through, because I would hear through Malcolm, Martin, Tukey, Tupac, John F. Kennedy, Frederick Douglass, like I could hear all of them. Because I read from them, I hear their music, Prince saying, what's the one song he says, about, oh my gosh, I don't know. I know it, but I just, it's just, I love that part that we have all of this to come to us if we embrace it, you know. So that's it.
Man, my man. That was emotional, man. Yeah. And it's and this is one of the reasons.
Well, it is emotional. I mean, there's a passion for it,
But here's the kicker with that, is that it's that person in your life to tell you to move forward, and you didn't know what to do to move forward, hits you in the heart.
When you love them or you respect somebody,
yes,
and they tell you, I got you.
Yeah.
It's the best feeling in the world.
I think the support
I will support you.
The support, exactly. The support piece of what you probably haven't done or haven't had before, to have somebody to be able to tell you that they support you, is kind of like I can breathe now. But then all of a sudden you still got those things that that you carried from the back end to come back and say, I never had this before. I'm so happy. Thank you, God, for having this person.
You think about elections, you always think about the movies where there's a bunch of noise and chaos and people running around the room and and yelling and did you check this and check, you know what I mean? Right. Does it ever feel like that? Like we're just a lot of chaos just is going on around you?
No, because I create the environment that I want around me.
Yeah.
And I think it's not so much that my wife says she had my back, it's that she showed it.
Yeah.
Yep. She showed it prior. And then several other people who had my back, but I never believed that I had my own back. See, you got to
There you
understand
go.
that.
That right
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You'll be like, man, I support you, and I'm doubting I can even do it. You know?
Right.
And that's what I love. One thing I love about Jay-Z, in one of these 5-minute speech, he said, his uncle said, you'll never sell 1 million records. He said, no, I sold 1 million records a million times. He said, you got to believe in what you are. You got to tune everything out. And that is the problem for us, because we don't know how to tune everything out.
That's right. That's right.
One of the songs that I'm so attached to is this song by Donnie McClurkin that says, will you trust me? Mm-hmm. Will you trust me enough to let go of the very thing you want to hold on to? Yes, I'll trust you, Lord. Yeah. And that song resonates with me in so many different ways, but specifically in this campaign, because you have to walk by faith and not by sight, because you've never been down this road before.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
That's so true.
Common sense. What I mean by that again is there's a book that's in front of you. You read the instructions. You follow it. Things will tend to come. It's like you studying for an exam. You're studying for a certificate, or you're studying in college or whatsoever. You're studying something in the real world. One of the things that people tend to fuse up is trying to do it on their own, and it doesn't go the right way of where you have the instructions of common sense right in front of you. A lot of people, and I've learned this a lot as far as myself, because I had a lot of ups and downs and thinking that I'm actually going down the right road, and actually I hit brick walls. I hit brick walls. Trust me when I tell you, from a financial standpoint, from an emotional standpoint, from a point where why is this actually happening? I look up to the sky and it's like, man, I know you got my back. I said, I'm just going to sit and wait. And then boom, all of a sudden he puts that person in front of you, or he puts that thing in front of you and say, listen, all you have to do is just wait.
Right.
You got it.
We get impatient. We get impatient.
But we get impatient to the fact of trying to do things to make sure it happens right now, instead of doing it the right way with patience, to be able to understand that over time, he's going to bring people like yourself on the show to be able to educate people like us, and also the audience, to say, hey, all you have to do is wait. Your time maybe is not right now, but it will come over time of having that effort. And I really, man, it's emotional. You bring back memories as far as with things that I've actually done, and I think that's,
I think that especially the faith piece. I mean, because to let go and let God, like truly let go and let God, like that's hard.
Yeah.
Because we want to control. We want to try to control. Naturally, we want to try to control outcomes and the things around us, right? And sometimes faith is hard. You just know if you do your job, what you are supposed to do, these other things will fall into place. And it sounds simple, right? But when you're in those moments, it's not always so simple.
Practice makes perfect.
Yeah,
that's all it is.
Absolutely.
It's just a matter of practice.
That's all it is.
Yeah.
That's all it is. Man, I'm happy you here, man.
I
Me
know.
too.
Man, I'm
I
happy
love
you here, for
it.
real, bro. Like, I feel like I've been knowing you for a long time, man.
We got the same father.
Yeah, we do. We do.
We
got the
brothers.
same, we brothers. Oh, for sure. We've always been there. We just, it's been years until we met. You know what I mean? So I'm so happy that we're here. We're at 12:44 right now. We got one more minute until we actually go to our next sponsor. But I'm hoping you guys are actually enjoying yourselves out there, man. We're having a great time as far as with the hood candidate.
Primo Cruz just checked in.
Oh, Primo just checked in. He
Primo.
said, Primo Cruz. He said, make sure you tune out all of the haters and the naysayers.
Yes.
Yeah, that's for sure.
But I like them though, because they encourage me.
Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes you need a little hater and naysayer just to make sure you're on the right track.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, so I
Of
pray
course.
them. We got cheerleaders, spectators, and participators.
That's
Choose
a-
them.
I ain't heard that in a long time. You didn't jam on it, now. You didn't jam on it.
I'm just saying.
We definitely feel in the era you grew up in.
If you don't know, now
Now
you
you
know.
know.
All right, everybody, we're going to get to this next one. This is by Hot on One Salsa, everyone. Hot on One Salsa is a dance company, so they also give big events, right? Real big events as far as for everyone. Also, of course, you see my face there. Yeah, and there's workshops, there's private events. That was at Microsoft, and also Dancing for the Kids. Para los niños. Yes. That's me actually having a good time as far as with the kids. And yes, Hot on One Salsa is where to go. So if you want to learn how to dance, make sure you check them out at www.hotonOneSalsa.com. Check them out. Check me out. Of course, you saw my face already, so can't say nothing about that.
And if you want to host like a salsa night, or if you're looking to do an event that's salsa related, reach out to Hot on One Salsa. They'll put something together for you.
Check it out. Check it out. Yep. So make sure you go ahead and check out Hot on One Salsa. All right, we're at 12:46 now. Let's get back into the groove of things, baby. So, we talked about the presidential election. We salute you.
Thank you.
On that. We salute you on that. You got a complaint in 32 states as well as with Aurora.
Right. So
talk about that.
The 13th Amendment, we all been taught abolish slavery.
Yeah.
But if you look at Section 1, it says slavery is legal if you've been duly convicted of a crime. Let me repeat. Slavery is legal if you've been duly convicted of a crime. You wonder why so many people are locked up right now. The 13th Amendment legalized slavery. I can go into the backdrop of that, how the South was losing their free labor. It's a whole story behind that. Well, what I'm saying is, in this lawsuit that I sued against the United States, which most people don't know, that the United States has a corporation that profits off of slave labor. The country that's telling, we're going to work for you, well, it's a corporation. The United States is also a federal corporation. They profit off of slave labor along with several of the other states, which I want to say 33. So I filed a declaratory judgment declaring what they're doing violates our inalienable rights. I came at it from the beginning of Exodus 5, verse 1, when the Israelites was leaving bondage. That's what Exodus means, leaving bondage, when they was coming out of Pharaoh's reign. And I'm saying, let the people go. And I'm declaring what they're doing violates natural law, God's law, international peace treaties, covenants, the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, and just straight out, downright morally wrong.
Basic human rights, yeah.
Wow. So that's what I did. They filed a motion to dismiss, said I didn't have jurisdiction. The judge granted it, and then the daddy always sends a little ram in the bush and showed me where I did have the right to do it.
Yes, sir.
Because I better obey God than man, and I put this in the lawsuits. And I just want to clear something up. I believe in God, and if you've ever had an experience with somebody that says they believe in God or is a Christian label, which I'm really from the Hebrew, I am from the Hebrew nationality, the God that I serve is the God of love, not a God of judgment.
Yes, sir.
He's a God of freedom of choice. So you can choose to do whatever you want to do, however you want to live your life, and that's okay with me because it's okay with my Father. The only thing that ever I have a problem with is when you are taking advantage of people, oppressing people, or you do something to hurt my family, immediate, or anybody for that matter. It could be a stranger, like the Good Samaritan. I don't believe in judging people's lifestyle. I believe in loving people's lifestyle. As in your life, not, I don't have to agree with what you do to still love and respect you. So I want to clear that up because I don't want to be considered as a religious dude. Because the scriptures line up with the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution. They both complement each other.
Yes, sir.
If you understood that, and you won't know that because who's going to teach you that? Because if I teach you about your liberty that you was granted from birth, you wouldn't allow nobody to oppress you.
Right.
So just want to clear that up.
Yeah, I was separating yourself from believing in God and some organized religions.
Right.
I think is what we're alluding to, because people right away think organized religions and they start thinking, those fanatical groups and stuff like that.
I don't hate. I hate oppression, and that oppression I hate, I had to get it out of me first. Like, I still had it. I still have judgmental thoughts about certain things that I still am getting checked with, daily. It's not like, oh, you've arrived. No, I don't arrive till we all arrive.
Yes, sir.
That's the arrival.
Yes, sir.
So that's a lawsuit. Then I have several lawsuits against the city of Aurora. One, gang databases, gang legislation is unconstitutional because you have the right to freedom of association. The first gang started back in late 1700s, early 1800s with the Ku Klux Klan, the white mobs. Those were the first gangs. We were tribes. Anybody in any street organization comes from a cultural tribe. They've taken your identity and called you a gang. We're not a gang. We come from a tribe. And every tribe has some people that go astray. That's just the way of life.
Yep.
We have to come back to our roots. So I declared that the gang database is unconstitutional. The police department, I declared they're a badge and incident of slavery, meaning the way the police departments operate in our communities are like slave patrols and slave catchers. They focus on certain neighborhoods, and this is the department. I'm not talking about the people. I'm talking about the department. The institution of being policing has a discriminatory purpose behind it. That's unconstitutional, and I filed a suit against the city of Aurora for that too.
Wow. I mean,
I'm the one that's representing me. I don't have an attorney. I don't have all that other stuff. So I just put that out. So when you see me running for president again, you know it's the brother that's really true about liberation for all the people.
Try to say this right. Because
we talk about that topic very often on the show.
This one is different.
Yeah.
This one is kind of different because this one, my family, some of our brothers grew up in gangs, and
or tribes,
right? So
right.
I'm saying gangs because that's exactly what
we've been labeled.
We know, right? And this is what we know as far as a gang of people, right? And when we hear tribes, it takes it back in regards to what a tribe is actually supposed to be for America, for the world.
Correct.
And I can't remember if it was the disciples or if it was
El Rukins,
but even the Panthers, right? Even the Black Panthers, even the Black Panthers, the Young Lords, but there was the Vice Lords as well, right?
El Rukins, Black P Stones.
That's what it was. Those tribes, I'm trying to get my vocabulary right. Those tribes
I'm just messing with
were actually there to do good.
Yes.
In the beginning, yeah.
In the beginning. Those tribes was not there to kill each other.
Correct.
Those tribes was there for the community to be able to help build the community until that sour apple or whatever animosity or whatever went through in regards to that. I don't know the whole detail, but I know the beginning of what it was supposed to be. There were certain things that they would actually say at the beginning of being able to get in that tribe, to be able to be part of that tribe. There was requirements to be able to have that. Of course, it's different now. Like you got to get beat up or whatever to actually even leave or even try to get jumped in, right? And which I'm totally against that all day. But I'm like this because I've seen as far as what my brothers actually came from and what they actually done. I love my parents for what they actually did as far as with my brothers and my family. When my parents actually, got into the religion aspects of things, of loving God, it taught a discipline of restriction of what is happening in the house. So if you want to be in that AKA gang or in that tribe, and you want to do something, you got to move out.
I know, I got kicked out.
And it was that foundation, right? It was that foundation of the family, of having a strong father and a strong mom, and understanding that we don't need drama in the house. We need love in the house. And there was that whole piece with, getting into a tribe that it kind of derailed everything in regards to what is actually supposed to be till today, right? So I'm feeling you in regards to that, because I know it's not really supposed to be the way it actually supposed to be today or during that time of the
Well, when he was talking about gang database and all, it's that ruins lives too.
Of course.
I mean, because you're labeling people, they label people who are who they deem associated, and the whole database, like they had a long running list.
Yeah.
And that list doesn't just disappear.
Yeah.
Right.
So that affects you, in the future.
Mm-hmm.
You're putting people in a box and you're keeping them there.
Yeah.
Everybody goes through phases of their lives, and they're allowed to grow and make changes and become whoever they want to be. That's part of being in this country, right?
That's right.
You know, we grow, we develop, we change, we go through phases, peel back the layers of our lives. But when you start collecting data on people, I mean, I get some, records are good, if people don't change and they're constantly doing the same things over and over again.
Yeah.
I get that.
Yep.
But there are some... You have people that are like, our age, with stuff on file that they did, when they were young, like 20, 30 years ago. What do you need that for? And you can expunge things, but are they really expunged? Do they really go away? You know what I mean? So it is a concern when you start labeling and declaring and saying, and you're dictating who people are.
Right.
And putting them in databases and keeping it there.
Right.
What is the cutoff period? So you haven't seen anybody for 5 years. Do they get to fall off the database? Not likely. You know what I mean? Yeah. So there's no rules to it. It's just saying that these people, this person did this when they were this age. This person is associated with this. You're just categorizing people's lives. And you may just be, maybe you're someone's neighbor. Maybe you're not. Those aren't facts. It's not all factual.
Yeah, some things that I think that they put together that, and even you got corrupt cops as well too, right? I mean, we call it what it is. And, sometimes they just put good people that may look a certain way into jail by making things happen.
The whole system needs to be redone and reconfigured, but that's a whole nother show that we can talk to about that.
I will say this. What really needs to be done is we need to understand our inalienable rights. Yeah. Because we don't know our rights. And one quick example, what happened January 6th with Donald Trump, if it would happen with Larry Hoover, Chief Malik, and Geno Colan, which is the leader of the Latin King tribe, they're all in prison for the exact same thing that happened on January 6th, with the exception Donald Trump, they took it civil. When it comes to the people in the lower class, it's criminal. That's the difference. It's the exact same thing.
Come on, man.
You're exactly right.
It's the exact same thing that they actually did, but then look what happened.
Mm-hmm.
This is happening during the pandemic. Like stuff like the pandemic is still going on, but you see that things are starting to come out even more that should have came out back in the day of equality.
But it did come out, and that's why it takes us, to save us. But what I mean by saving us, it takes us to teach us.
Right.
Because if I'm going to learn from somebody that's saying gangs are bad, but I'm saying, well, isn't the police department a gang? Because Tupac said it. Who's the biggest gang in the city? The police. Say the church. You can say that's a gang. You could say the fire department's a gang. You could say the school district is a gang. All of these can be labeled as a gang because they meet the definition of it. The only difference is you're labeling us and we don't have the resources. But see, remember, God always promised he would send a deliverer. So he didn't raise up just me. He didn't raise up a generation of me. Right. And I'm part of that. And what we are fortunate to have is your parents that are our elders that we can learn from. I'm fortunate to be able to talk to Panthers, COINTELPRO, cats. So I'm fabulous.
Come on. Come on. All right, everybody. You already know I got something for you, man. I got a shirt. You didn't think it was coming, did you?
He's like, did you just pull that out of your back pocket?
That's cool. That's cool. He want me to market for it.
No, I just want you to wear it.
Man, I'm gonna rock it.
I want you to rock this, man.
I will.
And you know what? This means a lot to me to give to you because of all of the trials and tribulations of things that you have gone through in the past and how you found the solution from the Father from upstairs, from him to be able to give you those instructions, to be able to move down that path, to be able to start being that hood candidate, which we already know what that means, but actually being Andy Hope, which we all have Hope Williams, right? And one of the things about this shirt is you being a leader in this environment, a leader of the tribe. There's a quest behind that. And what happens is that you actually have the gift. And someone told me that, hey, Rico, you have this ingredient to be able to make things happen. I said, no, you know what? everybody has an ingredient that they actually need to put on that recipe to make it come out as a beautiful dish. Man, this is for you, man. Welcome to the family, man. Welcome to the family. Let's get it on. Yeah. You already know. I want to thank you, man, so much for coming. We're gonna put up your put up your social media real quick. So we have the Hood Candidate. Make sure you follow him on Facebook, everybody. Hood Candidate on Facebook. Here's the next one. We have the Hood President. Let's go, baby. On Instagram. Yes, make sure you follow him on Instagram. His website is hoodcandidate.com. That is where you find all of his information, whatever he has going on. Make sure you support this brother, man. This guy is actually doing really great things for the world. He is a gem of the world. We're going to put up our social media real quick. So ours is www.riconosuaveshow.com is where you'll find the archive of videos as well as photos. And then we have our official account, Rico No Suave Show. Follow us on Instagram, everybody. Do it now. We're blowing up there. And then we have our Facebook, which we left, and then we're back. Rico No Suave Show, yes, on Facebook as well. And we have all of our live YouTubers. Yes, Rico No Suave Show. You'll find out the archives as well. Subscribe to the channel, everybody. Even if you don't have a Gmail account, get one and then subscribe. All right. And then we have Mixcloud.com/Rico No Suave Show on Mixcloud. So make sure you go ahead and follow us on Mixcloud. There is a picture that we want to put up as far as that you have. We have a few pictures of yourselves that we want to put up. I love this photo. I love this photo of you. That is the bomb photo. I really love this because you are a leader, you have power, and you also love Levi's. I see. Yes, I like that as well too.
Plug. See, Levi's, you need to reach out and send him a check.
Yeah.
Send him a check.
Yes. The Hood Candidate, I'm loving that, man. I'm loving that. It shows everything in regards to what you believe in, and you actually, you are you.
That's a good caption right there.
Yep. And last but not least, we got one more photo. Yes, that's that presidential look. Hey. That's what I'm talking about.
Rocking that pink tie.
Rocking it
all
out.
Right.
Yes,
it's all right.
Let's get it right. Put your hands together for none other than my man Andy Holt Williams. Thank you for coming in, Papa. Thank you so much, man.
Such a pleasure.
Oh, man. All right, everybody, as we end off the show, I want to thank you guys so much for tuning in. We thank you so much for all of your support. Don't forget to continue to support us on our social media and all of our videos. Next week, we have none other than, if you ever heard of them, and I love crime stories, we have Lisette Calderon that's going to actually be here from the Chicago Case Files, man. It's going to be the bomb. Next week, we talking about, if you love crime stories,
so excited.
It's all here in Chicago. She is here. She's the director. She is the bomb. And then she's going to have, hopefully we'll have some of the producers here in the loft as far as with us. But Chicago Case Files will be here on the Rico No Suave Show. We'll see you guys next week, everybody. And thank you. Always showing the love here on the Rico No Suave Show. And we'll see you next time as we end off the show just like this.